Okay, how's everyone doing today? I am back in the new year, 2021. Took a little bit of a break to basically start a company. So I started a kind of consulting analytics type company. We work with athletes or anybody who works with athletes, including coaches and trainers. It is Alto Sports Performance. That's ALTO Sports Performance. I will link to our website below. But I took a little break to get that up and running. When I'm back, I'm hoping to post more videos about data visualization, analytics, and wrangling, so on and so forth. Basically, any kind of code that I'm working on, I'd like to make some example scripts and share them on YouTube. So I'm back at it, hoping to do maybe a video a week. We'll see how busy things get for me as I finish up my PhD as well. But this will be the first one for the new year. So today I'm just going to show how to make a box plot with individual data points that are offset from the boxes, so it's a little bit clearer. So the first thing I'm doing here is I'm just creating two data frames. I'm calling them post and pre. So this would be, for example, if you are looking at something pre-post, so scores on whatever for the same individual, pre, and then post, let's say an intervention. Let's say you're giving somebody a medical treatment and you want to see how that medical treatment affects whatever their score is. There would be a pre-medication treatment and then post-medication treatment. And so I've created two things, pre and post. All have the same columns. The only thing that is different between them is their score and the time point. Okay, so then I'm going to R-bind them. So I'm just combining those two things. I'll remove the two pre-post data frames that I made. I don't need those anymore because I'm just going to be going with their combination, which is called my data. I'm going to change ID and time point into factors. And then I'm going to establish a plotting theme. This is just going to format my axis titles, my axis text, my things like that. So you can do that if you want, or you can create your own theme. Completely up to you. Okay, now we're going to actually start plotting. So we're going to call in ggplot. I'm using the tidyverse for this, by the way. So we're going to call in my data. And then for our axes, we're going to say x will be equal to time. So this is that pre-post. And then what we care about is what changes over time, which will be our score. All right, and I just arbitrarily made those. And then the first thing that we want to do is call in a box plot. So let's just go ahead and take a look at that. So this is our box plot, very typical. All right, and then I said we also wanted to have individual data points. So we'll say geom point. Let's take a look at that. So there's our points. Now what I want to do is I want to take these points and from time 1 shift them to the right, and from time 2 shift them to the left, and then have points connecting each individual, and then I want the boxes off to the sides. So I want to push time 1 off to the left and time 2 off to the right of the plot so that it's a little bit clearer. All right, so if I were to just add the line connecting our individuals, you'll see it's a little bit messy. So our geom line, and then we're going to call in a grouping variable to geom line that is by participant ID. And you can see that's a bit messy, right? So it'd be nice if those lines were just in the center of the plot and the boxes were off to the sides. Now, before we do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just add our themes so it looks a little bit nicer. So theme classic, and then I'm going to update theme classic with the theme that I generated above. Now it looks a bit nicer. Okay, so let's actually start getting into how we nudge some of these things, and we're going to do it using some built-in ggplot functions called position and position nudge. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is specify our box plots and how they're going to move. So to do that, I'm actually going to generate another geom box plot call. And inside of each of these, I'm going to specify I want one for time 1 and one for time 2. And the reason that is I don't want to nudge both of them in the same direction. I want to nudge time 1 to the left and time 2 to the right. So we're going to have to call them in separately. So to do that, I'm going to specify the data in this first one is equal to my data, and we're going to filter it and only call in time 1. Okay, and then we're going to call in a position, and we're going to set that equal to position nudge, and for time 1 we're going to nudge this off to the left by calling in -2. Okay, so then I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to paste it in my other call to ggplot. I'm going to change 1 to time 2, and instead of -2 I'm going to push that one off +2. So let's run this and take a look at what it looks like. Okay, so you can see I've nudged those. The other thing that I want to do is I want to make them a little bit, I don't want them to be as wide. So we'll call in a width and we'll set that equal to 0.4. And we'll do that for both of them. So now that's just going to change the width of those boxes. Okay, but we still want some space in between our box plot and our points, right? So what we're going to do now is we're going to nudge our points basically the same way we nudged our boxes. So for this first call to geom_point, we're going to call in 1. Now instead of nudging these time 1 points to the left, we actually want to nudge them to the right. So I'm going to nudge those by 0.1, and then I'm going to copy that call to geom_point and paste it down here and do the same thing but with time 2. And now for time 2 we actually don't want to nudge those off to the left, we want to, or off to the right, we want to nudge time 2 points inward, right? So we're going to actually give that a -0.1. Let's run this. Okay, so our points have been nudged in the right direction, but our lines, you can see, haven't been updated. So what we need to do in geom_line is now give this a position. And the cool thing about position nudge is that we can actually say we actually only want to nudge these in the X direction, and we can give it 2 variables. So if we were to nudge, if we were to just give it 1, it would nudge all of the lines, the start and the end of the line in that direction. What I'm going to do is I'm going to nudge the start by 0.1, and I'm going to nudge the end X position by -0.1. And there you have it. Okay, so then you can go in, obviously, and you can make these things look a little bit better, right? So in each box plot, we can give it, you know, we can make the line width a little bit bigger. We can give it a color of black, and then you can fill them in different colors too, right? So I'll fill, all of time 1 will be filled as blue, let's say, and then we can copy all of this and paste it below, and all of time 2 will be filled red. So let's take a look at that. All right, starting to look a little bit better, but let's make our points colored the same way, and let's make them look a little bit nicer. So let's say shape 21. We'll call in a color. This will be the outline. We'll make that white, and then this is the points for time 1. So we'll say let's fill that with blue. And then in case the points are overlapping, let's go ahead and make them slightly transparent so we'll be able to see them. And let's increase the size on these things too. Let's say size is equal to 4. Now we'll copy all of that and paste it in our second call to geom_point, which will be our time 2. And so because this is time 2, we will set that equal to red. And there you have it. So you could go through and, you know, change the aesthetics on this all you want, but this is our basic plot here. All right, we've got our time 1, our time 2, and they're colored the same way. You can color these lines. If we were to go in here, let's say you don't want those lines. You want to be able to see the lines, but you don't really want them to be popping. That's not the main point of it, right? So you can come in here and say color is equal to, make it something like gray, right? And that'll make it a little bit lighter. So there you go. This is a great way to show the group level change from time 1 to time 2. That's what you're getting with the the box plots, you're seeing basically how the median changes. And then you're also showing the individual data, so it's a good way to look at the spread from pre to post. And then you're also connecting each individual with the lines, so you can see, you know, down sloping lines and up sloping lines per individual. So it's a good way to show both group and individual level data. So there you have it. Hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I will link to all of my socials and things below. All right, take it easy.